Kilo 4, Foxtrot, Zulu, India.
This is Foxtrot Zulu India, Roger.
This is Foxtrot Zulu India, Roger.
Roger, it's KK4FZI, John, in the mountains of North Carolina. Over.
Roger, John in North Carolina. And what radio are you running today, sir?
North Carolina, and what radio are you running today, sir?
It's a FLEX-6500. I'm trying to learn how to use the Apple iPad software to run it. That way I can play with it remotely wherever I've got cellular signals. And I'm running about 1,200 watts, over.
Roger there, John. If you would, why don't you give me about 10 seconds and tell me about your antenna system, and let me look around and see if I can find a better path for us, Roger.
And let me look around and see if I can find a better path for us, Roger.
I will do that. Standing. Oh, you asked me to tell you about my 40 meters. I'm using Fishcraft 2-element, shortened 2-element beam. It's currently pointed kind of towards the west. If you tell me where you want to receive, I can turn the beam. Over.
Roger, John, I'm down around Louisville, Kentucky. We're just across the Ohio River from Louisville, Kentucky. Roger.
Roger, I'll try flying a little bit farther north then.
Yes, sir. And John, what was that radio again? Give me the radio one more time.
It's a FLEX-6500.
Roger, John, I didn't copy the flex part, but I got it now, sir. If you're interested in our setup, it starts with you double-checking to be sure that you're in that 100 to 2900 transmit bandwidth, the TBW. That's the one that we prefer because it lets your transmitter work as best it can within the limits of the transmission of the 3KC whatever, but it gives you just a little slice of daylight there. That's why it rolls off at 29, and then gives you just a slice of daylight to keep you from headed into somebody else's conversation. Roger.
That's pretty much where I've got it set now.
Yes, sir. That's the one we prefer, 100 to 2900. Past that, then to your compressor processor, and we're only looking for a very slight amount of that, like maybe a 3 out of 10 or 30 out of 100, depending on how that compressor processor input is labeled. Just a third of that capability, Roger.
Not running any processing at the moment.
Roger, well, you are running some. Your ALC is working all the time to keep you in the good spot there as best it can. But what happens a lot is that if you're not running any processing by today's standards, then you're roughly running about 30% of average peak modulation by not trying to get a little bit heavier signal, less dynamic range in your audio, like I say, 30% with, if you go to 3% width in your dynamic range, then you're talking about 80 to 85%, still crystal clear audio with no distortion, Roger.
Well, here it is with some of the processing turned on. Does that sound better for you?
Well, it's a little rough. Do you have one that's less? Like I say, we're only looking for, we're trying to handle the compression processing with finesse. We have found that about 3 clicks out of 10 or 30 out of 100 is, does a neat job. People wonder, are you or are you not?
Okay, I don't have real fine control over how much processing it's using. That's reduced but still on. Oh.
Yeah, it's so severe, I would not run it. Yeah, I think you're right. You sound a whole lot better without that. It probably maybe requires some fine touches there, but just switching it in, it sounded very, very harsh, Roger.
Okay, this is fast. No process that I'm running. And I'm just learning the software for the iPad to run the FLEX, so I've still got a learning curve ahead of me. Over.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, that, like I say, you sound much, much warmer without the compressor processor on. So the next thing would be setting your level correctly, and normally what we suggest is going to your ALC meter with mic gain in hand. And as you say the magic word audio, you become a human test tone generator. We're not concerned about the last half of that word. It's mainly the part. And with mic gain in hand, and as you're looking at your ANL meter, adjust your mic gain until you're running 7 or 2/3 on your ALC meter.
Let's see. This is different than what you're used to, so I can adjust the mic volume. Oh, that's about halfway, and that's the best I can do. So, what'd you think?
Okay, why don't you try working your mic maybe a little closer there. You might pick up just a little bit of bass response. It's called a proximity effect, and it says that as you approach a microphone, the closer you get, the more lower frequencies there are. So you might consider maybe 2 or 3 inches off that mic, Roger.
I forgot to turn the transmit button off while you were talking. As I said, this is a new way to interface with the radio for me. Stand by 1. Let me make a small adjustment.
Okay, before you do, let me just say that your audio, your transmit audio right now is ballistically is perfect. So I wouldn't change a thing there at all. I'm looking at your signal on the output of a 7300 driving a VU meter. Which I can tell by the way it hangs as to what your dynamic range is. I'm also looking at your audio signal on a freak meter, and we could deal with that a little bit later. I think we might need a little more top end, but like I say, right now you're ballistically, I think you're just perfect.
I will take just perfect any day, and this is... It's learning a new system to operate the controls, and I'm tired, so I believe I will just stick right here. Tell me your call sign, and I just stumbled across somebody talking, so I'm not real familiar with what you're doing here. Over.
Roger, this is the Qso-Vlog net. We do it every Friday afternoon between 3:30 and 5, and essentially it's a help get the transmitters squared away, and a lot of transceivers. Folks get new radios, they're not really sure how to set them up. We have generic setups that we can handle almost any radio, provided the operator has some idea where the controls are. Sometimes that's more difficult than others, so in that situation we just suggest that maybe they take notes. We run through the setup so they can just take notes, and then go to their book and take care of things as as time permits.
Roger, what is your call sign and name?
Roger, name here is Jim, Juliet India Mike. Call sign is Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor, and again Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor. Name is Jim.
Are you using remote software software-controlled radios? You said you've got like 5 different locations you're listening from. Over.
Yes, I'm using internet SDRs. I don't know if you're familiar with those, but you can access those through the internet. I'm using Amazon Fire tablets to translate back to audio, and then I have the audio coming up. I have 5 of them, and they're coming up on a 6-position rotary switch, so I have the outputs from those to choose, and then I also have my local 7300 up on that same switch, so I can go to the whole receive situation in about a 1.5 seconds or 2 seconds.
How did you get interested in doing this, Jim? Are you a broadcast engineer kind of background?
50 years in broadcasting, not necessarily in electronics, through production and on-air. Roger.
Roger. Well, I'm very grateful to the Elmer tradition in amateur radio. I'm someone that never learned how to program a CCR back in the day. Had a back injury about 15 years ago. Had to retire early. My wife and I joined a local ham club, and if it wasn't for the kindness of Elmer's, Jane and I would still be talking to each other on hand transceivers. So we've really benefited from somebody with technical background that's willing to take some time to share with us that just simply don't have that background, though.
Roger. Well, I think the Elmer mode for amateur radio is just perfect. I don't know of any other hobby that has quite as intensive a Elmer program that amateur radio does, and we could always use more folks because newbies coming up got no idea what's in front of them and how to do this and how to do that, and so there's I guess there's schools for it, but in finest tradition amateur radio is the Elmer, helping those that need technical advice, and sometimes more than just technical advice. Sometimes things can be extremely frustrating for our newbie amateur radio operators, as they try to figure things out. So sometimes just a few words of encouragement works wonders also.
I have kind of a funny story if you want to just chat a little bit. The first meeting that Jane and I went to, there was a woman there whose husband was still is an electrical engineer, and Wanda was an ER nurse, also retired. My wife's a family practitioner doctor, and as we were listening to her talk, she told a story about how back in the day, one of her husband's socially awkward engineering buddies made a snarky remark to her about how she could never get a license because she was a girl, she'd never learn Morse code. Wanda didn't say a word. ER nurses are a breed apart. Her husband knew she was mad, so he went out and got her the study tape for CW, and she turned out to be a virtuoso at it. That went to, I don't know how many words a minute, won a bunch of contests. And at the end of the meeting, Wanda came over to say hello to Jane and I. And she asked Jane if she was just there to support me or she was going to get on the air too. And right up until that moment, I was thinking Jane was just a study buddy. She was being a supportive wife, and she's introverted by nature. But after having heard Wanda's story, Jane said with great enthusiasm, "Oh no, I'm getting my license too." And it was at that point that I switched from having the Elmers help me shop for all used, not very expensive equipment, to order a brand new MNTF 2000 the next morning, and it's been adding other antennas and transceivers and amplifiers ever since then. And it was largely because Wanda's husband's awkward buddy insulted Wanda. So Jane was the president of the ham club for a while. That the Elmer tradition is a wonderful thing.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And you have such a beautiful situation there at sharing your hobby with the wife. It makes it, as you realize, a whole lot easier to get some nice new gear, Roger.
I have another funny story. I injured my back, and I don't sit up in a chair for a long time and stay comfortable. So I went to a lot of effort to make it so I could operate everything just from a propped up in the bed position. It's got a 65-inch TV that I use for a monitor at the foot of the bed. And, now I'm pulling this iPad so I can just, take this anywhere with me and operate it. But at first I had old amplifiers that you had to get up and tune, and getting up and down was hard. And I was convinced I was going to do expensive damage making a mistake trying to tune it. So I found an open box ACOM 1000. I told Jane, I thought, maybe we ought to get this because there was built-in protection in case I did something wrong trying to tune it. And she said, well, that's fine, you can get that one if you want to, but I thought you were interested in the one with a remote control head so it could operate completely from the bedside table. And I was like, well, yeah, that'd be nice, but that's a stupid amount of money. And she's like, no, you need to get the remote control head. So I let my XYL talk into spending, I think it was $6,500 back then, and it's like $8,000 now. And several of my ham buddies were insanely jealous that I had an XYL that talked me into spending more money on the hobby. Over.
Yes, that's beautiful. I mean, and well, I wonder how often that happens in a ham family. Usually, the guy's out in the shed, and he's got his 1930 radio trying to make contact with space, and wondering why he doesn't have a 7610 or something to, sitting in front of him.
I married very well. Growing up, Jim, there were 4 divorces in my immediate family through my parents, my older brother. When I was younger, I was pretty good at dating. I sucked at making commitments. And then I kind of had my personal stuff worked out, was looking around, and boy, trying to date in your 30s, and the women that were in that age range were single for good reasons. My mantra was no relationship is better than a bad relationship. And I decided I wasn't gonna settle, just waited and told God I'd try to be obedient and not just hang out with women I knew weren't the right ones. And a couple weeks after that, I got introduced to Jane. So we're coming up on 28 years of marriage now. I'm getting ready to turn 70 in October.
Roger. Well, gosh, I wish you all the luck in the world. It sounds like just a beautiful relationship and ideal ham radio situation for all concerned. Gosh, John, really enjoyed speaking with you this afternoon. Roger, if you want to hear your audio, and it's really nice, and I got it on my 7300, which has a lot better frequency response than these Internet SDRs, because the Internet SDRs roll off at about 300 or so the 7300 goes down to 100 cycles or so. And so it has really sounded good. So if you want to hear it, if you go to YouTube and do a call letter search for KC9VKV, followed by the word logbook, that will take you to this recording. It'll be cut number 1 in a series of 3400, and I'll have it uploaded to YouTube by noon tomorrow. Roger?
Let me make sure I've copied this down correctly, Jim. YouTube, Kilo Charlie 9, Victor, Kilo Victor, logbook. Is that it?
Roger, yeah. KC9VKV, followed by the word logbook, will take you to this recording. It'll be cut number 1, like I say, in this series of 3400, and I'll have it uploaded by noon tomorrow, Roger.
Very fine business. I appreciate it. I've been trying to get in touch with a friend of mine that has talked to me for years. He knows what I sound like when I'm running the radio like I normally do with a Heil PR781 and not been able to reach it. So, yeah, I will very much do that, Jim. I appreciate it. Fine business. I've enjoyed getting a chance to visit with you a little bit. Appreciate you taking some time. KK4FZI, back to you.
Roger, John, 73, sir. You have a great afternoon, beautiful weekend, and if you get a chance, join us next Friday. We'd love to have you. This is the Friday afternoon Qso-Vlog net. If you have a radio you want to check out, give me a shout.